Hello friends, welcome to online faculty development program of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I am CA Pankaj Deshpande and today we will be discussing about ERP concept, that is Enterprise Resource Planning concept. What is it all about? Let us start this journey. First of all, let us try to understand the three words, that is enterprise, resource and planning. What do you mean by enterprise? Everybody knows what is enterprise, but still it is any business unit. It is a group of people, and one more thing is about enterprise, that is they use common resources, and the resources are basically used to achieve a common goal. So enterprise is a business unit using common resources and working for a particular common goal. What is resource? Resource, as all of us know, it may include variety of things, but basically it is money, material, manpower, and machinery. These resources are used to achieve the common goal. Planning, the third word in this enterprise resource planning, as all of us know, planning includes acquiring, utilizing, and disposing of the resources. Basically, planning is needed for any type of goal achievement, and in this particular concept, that is ERP concept, the planning part plays a major role. Then combinedly we can define this term enterprise resource planning, that it is a common system used by all and used for all types of resource planning and utilization. Basically every organization is interested in achieving its goal, that is already planned goals, and these goals can be achieved by using the resources they are having, that is acquiring, utilizing and disposing of the resources. Whenever we talk about business, there might be different units as well as departments in any type of business. There may be a finance department, a quality control department, sales and distribution department, logistics department, production planning department, production department, materials management, human resources. These are some of the examples of business units and departments. There might be more than these departments. Any other department may also exist. But so let us discuss a small case study to understand the concept of ERP. There are certain customers, and a customer is contacting sales department for particular product. They are inquiring with the sales department that they require the particular product. Sales department, they do not have the information about availability of the product. What will happen? Sales department, they will have to contact stores department that whether we have this product and whether we can cater to the needs of the customer. Stores department, unfortunately they do not have the stock of material required by sales department. So what will happen? Finished goods are not available with stores, so stores will inform the sales department, and now sales department will contact production planning department. Production planning department is supposed to plan for production. What will happen? Production planning department now will contact stores department, and they will ask about availability of raw material for manufacturing the goods. Now again, unfortunately, the raw material is also not available. So now what is to be done? Production planning department, they will have to place an order with a particular vendor. There will be a purchase process, and the order vendor will be selected, order will be placed with the vendor. Vendor will supply the material, and the material will reach stores department. This is raw material supplied by vendor to the stores department. Stores department is now having the raw material. What will happen? Next, stores department will send the raw material to the shop floor for production. Production department, that is shop floor, they will manufacture the required goods, and they will send the information about the production as well as the goods to the stores department. Stores department will receive the goods physically, and they will be having the goods ready with them for sales department. Sales department will be informed in turn about the availability of finished goods, and now sales department are in a position to cater to the needs of the customer. So this is how one particular activity is completed. Now, what happens next? Sales department, they will contact finance department for recording of this sales transaction. Finance department will again be contacted by production planning department for recording of purchase of raw material from vendor. So finance department is acting as a central place for all the departments. Finance department will make a payment to the vendor, and all the departments will be contacting HR, that is human resource department, for all types of human resource needs. For example, if shop floor department needs some manpower for the production of goods, they will contact HR department. If finance department they need some manpower for their purpose, they will again contact HR department. So in turn, every department will be connected to HR department for their human resource need. Finance department will be contacted by all other departments for their financial and accounting needs. So this is how activities goes on in any type of business. There may be two types of systems. One is called as centralized system and the other is called as decentralized system. What are their characteristics? Decentralized system, basically the difference is in data maintenance. In case of decentralized systems, data is maintained by each department separately. I am repeating, in case of decentralized system, the data is maintained by each department separately. Second characteristics of decentralized system, department does not have access to the data of other department. So if production planning department, if they are maintaining their data, they will not allow other departments to access their data. Similarly, the other department will not allow production planning department to access their data. Due to this, there are certain problems in decentralized systems. What are these problems? Let us consider the case once again. If a customer is contacting sales department is inquiring with stores about the availability of finished product. Stores says that we do not have stock, we are out of stock. Now what will happen? Stores will inform sales department will inform the customer, and the customer will try to find a new vendor. In this case, the order is lost, customer is lost, as well as reputation is lost. So ultimately it is loss of reputation, loss of revenue, and loss of customer also. Now let us once again consider this case. Customer is contacting sales department. Sales department is contacting stores. Store says that we do not have stock. Sales department is contacting production planning for manufacture of goods. Raw material is also not available for manufacturing of these goods. Now what will happen? Stores and production planning department, they are maintaining their own data separately. They do not have a connection, they do not have access of data to a data that is maintained by other departments. Raw material information is stored separately by both the departments. So it is quite possible that stores is maintaining some set of data, production planning is maintaining some other set of data, and they have different information about the same raw material. This creates a problem. Even if the store is having some set of raw material, it may happen that production planning department is placing an order with vendor and the vendor is supplying the goods to the stores department. Production planning will contact now production floor. Now there is a duplication. The material which we were already having is purchased and the money is blocked in that material. Production planning department, they are contacting production floor department, that is the shop floor for manufacturing. Now production floor, they do not have required manpower for manufacturing goods. They will contact HR department. Here HR department will hire the manpower for production floor department, and as they will be hiring immediately, there will be some urgency, it will be hired at higher cost. So cost is going to increase in this case because of lack of planning as well as poor preparation. Now what will happen? Finance department comes into picture now. Production planning department is contacting finance department, but actually they are both maintaining different sets of data, so there may be a communication gap between production planning and finance department. Finance department is not updated by production planning department about the purchase of raw material from a particular vendor. Now vendor will get disturbed and he will ask for his money to the finance department. Finance department is not updated about the purchase, so they may say that we do not have any information about this transaction, so we cannot proceed with the payment. So what will happen? Ultimately the vendor will get disturbed, the customer will get disturbed, and due to lack of communication or lack of proper communication, there may be a lot of problems. For example, the major problems are increase in cost, increase in delay in providing the material to the customer. Increase in data, again every department is maintaining their own set of data, so the data size is bound to increase. And increase in dissatisfaction of everybody. We have discussed about decentralized system. Now let us discuss about centralized system also. Now let us consider the same case once again. What happens in case of centralized systems? A customer is contacting sales department. Sales department now, instead of contacting stores department, they will contact a central database. They will take the information from central database about the availability of a particular finished product. Stores department is again connected with central database. Production planning is also connected with central database. Central database, the order will be placed to the vendor from central database only. If it is required, then order will be placed to this vendor through central database only. Shop floor, that is the production department, they will again interact with central database about the manufacturing process, the stage of manufacturing. HR department, in case if it is needed to hire some employees, again they will update the information in central database only. Finance department, if at all it is required, they will again update the information in central database. So the basic difference between decentralized system and centralized system is that everybody is working with same data and everybody is updating the same database. There is no separate database maintained by each department. The biggest advantage of this particular system is that there will be only one set of data and it will be updated for and by all the departments. So far we have discussed two types of system, that is centralized system and decentralized system. Naturally, the centralized system will be having much more advantages as compared to decentralized system. These are the advantages of ERP systems. Basically, ERP system will increase the efficiency of each and every person connected with the system. It will increase the revenue for the organization and it will ultimately increase the productivity of each and every resource in the organization. There can be different types of functions in business: planning, materials management, production, sales and distribution, finance and accounting, human resource, research and development. These are some of the examples of departments working in any type of business, and the job of ERP system is to connect all the departments and to achieve overall efficiency in the organization. Every organization will be having some sort of business processes. A business process, what is a business process? It is a combination of activities that takes some input and generates an output. Output will be planned, output will be desired, there will be some set of standards for getting the output. Input shall be provided accordingly and the organization shall be able to generate the output accordingly. Business process is meant to create value for customer. Basic objective of business process is to create a value for customer and not just providing what the customer requires. The basic one more character of business process is that it may spread across different functions. For example, we have just seen that in case of a purchase or in case of a sales order processing, what has happened? The order was recorded by sales department first, then sales department contacted the stores department contacted production planning department contacted shop floor may contact stores department, the production planning may contact accounts department, finance department, human resource department. So it is a process and the process is spreading across the different functions in the organization. Let us consider a small business process example. There is a customer who is contacting service department. Let us take a case of car repair. Suppose you wish to repair your cars and you are contacting service department. You are going to the garage, you are going to the authorized service station and you are contacting service department. What will happen? Service department will ask the stores department that if at all any type of spare parts are required to be fitted in the car, do we have these spare parts? The stores department will contact purchase department if they do not have the required parts. So here we can see that the business process is spanning over all the departments, multiple departments simultaneously. The purchase department will update stores department that we have purchased this particular material, this spare parts, and you can have it. The stores department will in turn contact service department, and the service department will give service to the customer. This is a simple case of business process. We were about to repair our car, and we have to go through this process. Actually, we means we customer does not go through this process. But what happens? A business, various people connected in the business, various people working in the business, they will contact each department one by one, and the process gets completed. Integrated information system. What are the characteristics of integrated information systems? Let us discuss. The first and the foremost character of integrated information system is sharing of common data. We have just seen that in case of centralized system, the data is common and it is shared by all the departments simultaneously. Unlike decentralized system where data is maintained separately by each department, here the basic advantage is that the data is common and it is shared and updated by all the departments simultaneously. What is sharing of common data actually? Material requisition is sent by production to stores department. Let us consider one more case. Stores department sends the requirement to the purchase department. Now please concentrate on data sharing aspect. Material requisition is sent by production department to stores department. Stores department is sending the requirement to the purchase department. Purchase department raises a purchase order on approved vendor. Now the list of approved vendor will be available with purchase department. Purchase department will also be updated about the current position of stock as the data is the same and it is shared by all the departments simultaneously. There will not be absolutely a communication problem in this case. Now, after purchase department raises a purchase order on approved vendor, material shall be received by the stores department. Material is received by the stores department. Is it required for purchase department to be updated by stores department for receiving the material? Yes, definitely it is required. So purchase department in this case, now they know that we have raised the purchase order and we have received the material. Our stores department has received the material. So what is the status of pending purchase order? It is updated and it is known to purchase department. So this type of particular order has not been yet received. It is known to the purchase department and they can follow up with the vendor for sending the material. Now it comes to sending invoice to the accounts department. As purchase department, they know that we have received the material, the stores department has received the material. Invoice shall be sent to the accounts department, and after account department is updated, material is sent to the production department. Material received by the stores is sent to the production department. Now once again I am asking you to concentrate on data sharing aspect. Here the data is the same and it is updated by each and every user simultaneously. Payment is made to the vendor by accounts department. So here the data is shared by all the departments, it is updated by all the departments and it is used by all the departments. Basically, what type of data is shared by all the departments? Data can be classified in two types. One is master data and other is non-master data. For example, mostly the master data is shared by all the departments. For example, let us consider names of ledgers, names of vendors, names of customers, names of stock items, names of groups, units of measures. These shall be shared by all the departments from a common platform, that is common database. Secondly, there is another type of data that is called as transaction data. The transaction data may also be shared and it is required to be shared by all the departments simultaneously, jointly. And this data, particularly the transaction data, is used by many departments. For example, the requirement of material. This is a transaction. This is sent by stores to production planning department. Production planning department raises order, particular order with the vendor, and this particular order can be seen by stores department also, it is seen by purchase department also, and it can be seen by finance department also. So it is sharing of common data, that is master data as well as transaction data. There might be some other transactions which are useful, which may provide useful information to other departments also. For example, if whether the payment for a particular vendor has been made by accounts department or not, this information is important for production planning department, and this information can be viewed as there is common database. Sales figure used by accounts and marketing department shall be from the same data. Many a times it happens that sales department during a review meeting, in case of management review meeting, the sales department may provide some set of data, there's some set of figures, and it may not match with the sales figure shown by product sales. For example, sales figure used by account department and sales figure used by marketing department, mostly it should be from the same data, but many a times it is seen that in case of management review meetings, the sales department they provide one set of figures and the accounts department they provide some other set of figures, and it do not match. Sometimes they may add sales order to it just to show that they have achieved the target, but logically it should be from same database and it should match in all the cases. When it comes to ERP software, let us try to understand how does it work. In case of ERP software, there is a user. There might be variety of users, but let us consider that there is a user. User is approaching the application, that is the software application. The software application is connected with database. Database is connected with application. Application fetches and sends data to the database, and ultimately the application is once again connected with user. This is how every software works. It is not only about ERP, it is about all types of software. There are three elements. One is called as front end, other is called as back end, and one more element, that is the human being, that is the user. User goes to the application, software application contacts a database, and database generate the required information, that is the report or figures, and this information figures are sent to the application, and in case of application, the application ultimately shows figures to the user. Now let us try to understand this backend, front end and user, these concepts using a simple case of Tally. I hope all of you have seen this screen before. This is Tally ERP9 and this is gateway of Tally, screen of Tally ERP9. Here there are different types of menus. If you wish to access any type of menu, there are three ways. First way is using mouse. You can click on any of the menu, it will get activated. Second way is to use arrow keys and press enter on the desired menu option after selecting it. Third and the most simple and easy to use way is to press a hotkey. For example, let us assume that user, that is me, I am wishing to access some report, that is the balance sheet report. If I wish to view this balance sheet report, I will have to interact with front end. Front end is what a user is viewing on the screen. I am pressing B for balance sheet on this gateway of Tally screen. As soon as I press B, what happens? In the background, I am interacting with front end. In the background, what is happening? The front end, that is the software application, is interacting with the database. It is pulling the figure from the database and generating figures, generating a report, and it is shown to the user. That is user interacting with front end interacting with backend. Backend, once again, after generation of the report, backend is sending the information to the front end, and front end is displaying the information to the user. This is how the process gets completed each and every time. Even if I wish to view profit and loss account, the same process will be followed by the Tally software. If I go to accounting vouchers, if I wish to record a transaction, again the same process is followed by all types of softwares. Now let us discuss something about ERP and related technologies. ERP is a very big concept, enterprise resource planning, and it includes so many types of other technologies also. For example, there are certain technologies which are by and large associated with this concept, ERP. First one of it is business intelligence, data warehousing, online analytical processing, product life cycle management, supply chain management, customer relationship management. These are some of the technologies, some of the concepts associated with ERP. Let us discuss these concepts one by one. Business intelligence, as the name suggests, it is something about knowledge. Everyone today understands that knowledge is power. There are so many people in the world who are controlling others just by their knowledge. They are controlling the world just because they are having lot of knowledge. They are earning lot of money just out of knowledge. So knowledge is power, and knowledge is the basic integral part of any type of business intelligence systems. What is a business intelligence system? Basically, it is a decision making tool on the basis of information collected and analyzed using business intelligence. Decision making can be done, and it can be definitely used as business intelligence tool. And it includes skills, processes, technologies, applications, practices, etc. So many other issues are associated with this business intelligence. And what is the basic use of this business intelligence? It facilitates quicker, better, and correct decision making. So, business intelligence is a system of using the knowledge, extracting the knowledge from the business, and ultimately using it for decision making purposes. Why business intelligence? Because management is always interested in knowing so many things on the basis of which they can take decisions. For example, management wants to identify and exploit areas of strength in our company, which are our areas of strength, which can be concentrated and which can be utilized for generating the required results. Sometimes there might be some areas which are not performing well, so let us try to concentrate. Management may want information and they may decide that let us try to concentrate on these areas which are not performing well so that they can also perform well. Identify areas of opportunities. Many a times management is interested in knowing the opportunity areas. At present we are not working in this particular area, but we may in future, we may start working in this particular area, and we can generate more and more revenue, we can expand our business operations, and we can grow. Sometimes management wishes to have a what if analysis, means know the consequences of decisions. If we take this decision, for example, let us consider that suppose a new plant is to be installed at a particular new area, let us say in Uttarakhand. Let us say we wish to start a plant in Uttarakhand. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages of starting a new unit in Uttarakhand? Will we be getting some subsidy? So for starting this particular unit, will there be some tax exemption? So what will be the calculation, overall calculation? There might be certain increase in cost of production due to increase in cost of labor, because labor may not be available there, but this cost may be set off by using the subsidy or by using the tax exemption. So ultimately, what if analysis is extremely necessary in case of business decisions. Management many a times wants to reward those who perform well. Many a times it happens that if there is no such system of rewarding those who are performing well, the overall morale of the employee gets reduced, and it may decrease the efficiency in the organization. So this is very important to have the information. Management is interested in knowing uh, whom to be rewarded and whom to be educated. Those who are not performing well, they need to be educated to perform well. And one more thing that is management is interested into is that identify areas of business growth. Many a times there might be certain areas where we can grow, we can increase, we can expand our operations. It is possible, and it is possible only with the help of business intelligence only. Business intelligence, this concept includes two more things, that is data warehouse, BI tools, and applications. Let us discuss one by one these three concepts. What is a data warehouse? All of you must have heard about warehousing. Warehousing, it is a place where the goods are stored. In case of data warehouse, what we store? We store data in warehouse, that is called as data warehouse. Data warehousing, it is a system of separating operational and non-operational data. Every organization will be having two types of data. One is called as operational data and other is called as non-operational data. Database shall consist of two types of data, that is operational data and non-operational data. What is the exact meaning of this operational and non-operational data? Operational data is that data which is used on day-to-day basis. and non-operational data is that data which is not required for regular day-to-day operations. For example, let us say that if we are recording a sales transaction, we require the master data as far as sales is concerned, means the name of sales ledger, name of stock items. This type of data is used frequently for recording of sales transactions. Non-operational data, for example, there might be sales information for past 3 years. So this past 3 years sales information, it might be very useful in analysis purpose, but for a person who is recording a sales transaction today, it may not be very much relevant. So he may not be required to interact with non-operational data. Actually, non-operational data increases the load on the system. So we need to separate the data into two parts. One is operational data and other is non-operational data. To understand this concept in a better way, let us try to understand this particular image. In case of any organization, the data is generated from variety of sources. There might be different data sources. For example, operational systems, data may be generated from operational systems. Data may be generated from RDBMS, that is Relational Database Management System, or data may be generated from flat files. Even you can consider a simple Excel file as flat file, and that may be used as a database. Now, at the time of data generation, this data is in different forms. So this data needs to be extracted and standardized before it is placed in central database, that is the data warehouse. So there is a system that is called as ETL, that is extract, transform and load. So on the left hand side of the screen, you are viewing that is data sources. There are three data sources displayed here: operational systems, RDBMS and flat files. These data sources are used to extract and standardize the data, and this extracted and standardized data is put into data warehouse. Ultimately, users are connected with this central data warehouse, and users are extracting this data, using this data for their own purposes. For example, as shown in right hand side of this particular screen, there may be a user who is using the data for analysis purpose, there may be a user who is using the data for reporting purpose, and there may be at the same time a user who is using the data for mining purpose. But what is the exact purpose of this data warehousing? Operational data is used for recording of transactions. Non-operational data is used for viewing and analysis. So we need to identify the purpose, we need to understand the purpose, and we need to concentrate accordingly on the type of data. ETL stands for extract, transform and load. Let us try to understand the concept of ETL with the help of this particular diagram. There might be variety of applications. For example, CRM, that is customer relationship management, sales, HR, human resource and finance. They may be generating variety of data, and there may be some differences in data formats. For example, date, how we store the date. Sometimes we store the date as DDMMYY, sometimes it is MMDDYY. So the data may be stored in a different fashion, different style in each department. What is the job of ETL? Extracting the data from different departments, different sources of data, CRM, sales, HR and finance. And after extracting, they have to transform the data, that is standardize the data in one particular platform, one particular way, and it will be loaded into the central database. So ETL is extremely helpful in storing, extracting and loading the data from different data sources. Where ETL can be used? ETL can be used in case of data warehousing. It can be used in case you wish to transfer data from old software to new software. For example, if you wish to shift your accounting system from Tally ERP9 to SAP, from Oracle to SAP, or from any software to any software, this particular ETL is extremely useful. Mergers and acquisitions. Suppose there is a merger of two companies. One company is using Oracle software and other company is using SAP. So they wish to start a joint venture, they wish to merge into one company and they wish to standardize the system. In this case, ETL will come to their help and it will be easy to mix the data of two companies to form one company. Sometimes you may be required to integrate the data from third parties. For example, if you are acting as an agent of your principal company, let us take a case of Godrej. Suppose you are a Godrej dealer and you are dealing in refrigerators, fridge, washing machine, etc. Godrej is selling products to you, and you as a dealer, you are selling product to your customers. Now, what happens if you wish to buy from Godrej? What you need to do? You need to raise a purchase order on Godrej, and Godrej has to record this purchase order as their sales order. It will be recorded as a purchase order in your data, and it shall be recorded as a sales order in Godrej data. Now, what will happen? You wish to integrate the data from third party. In case of Godrej, if we are discussing about accounting system of Godrej, Godrej will receive the sales order, that is their sales order, it is your purchase order, from some external party who is not a part of accounting system directly, but indirectly that third party, that is the dealer of Godrej, is a part of accounting system. Now what happens? The dealer of Godrej is not using the accounting system of Godrej. Let us assume that Godrej is working on SAP and the dealer is working on Tally. Dealer is generating the purchase order in Tally and it is being sent to the Godrej. Now Godrej wishes to record this particular purchase order, that is their sales order, in SAP system. There needs to be one particular bridge which will connect the data created by Tally and it is accepted in SAP as it is without any hassle. So ETL can be used in this case also. One more concept, that is metadata. What is metadata? It is definition of data elements in the data warehouse or data sources. It is transformation rules as far as data is considered. It is data about data. Metadata can be simply defined as data about the data. And one more thing about metadata is it is used by the end user to find and understand data in data warehouse. Metadata, one more concept about ERP. To understand this concept in a better way, let us try to understand the case of a library. In case of library, the basic data shall be the books and the metadata shall be numbering system, arranging system, titling system, authors, publications, etc. Every library has to store this information also, so that it is possible, it is very easy to extract the book, to find out the book easily out of thousands of books. So basic data shall be books and the metadata shall be this arranging system, numbering system, etc. What are the advantages of data warehousing? Fast and smooth working with operational data by reducing the load. Basically, whenever it is a matter of ERP data, the data size shall always be huge and the user experience of interacting with the data must be pleasant. If a user is required to spend more time on extracting the data, the interest of the user gets reduced or minimized. So the basic requirement in case of ERP system, that it should be fast as well as smooth. Second thing, that is advantage of warehousing, data warehousing, is easy reporting and analysis of information. Why reporting becomes easy and why analysis of information becomes easy? It is just because the operational data is separated from non-operational data. Third advantage of data warehousing, that is it facilitates decision support system. Every organization will be having some type of system for decision making. So decision making requires a lot of information and this information shall be provided out of data warehousing. When there are advantages of data warehousing, at the same time there are disadvantages of data warehousing also. What is the biggest disadvantage of data warehousing? The cost of maintenance is quite high. So many a times every organization may not be able to afford this cost. Latency as compared to operational data. What is latency? As we know that data warehousing will store data in two parts, one is operational data and other is non-operational data. The operational data will be copied, will be transferred to non-operational data. There may be a latency of sometimes few hours, sometimes few days also, as compared to operational data and non-operational data. the figures in operational data may not be updated immediately in non-operational data. So if you check figures in operational data and if you compare it with non-operational data, there might be some difference in some cases. So this is one of the disadvantage of data warehousing. But still, even after these disadvantages, data warehousing is really useful. Where it is useful? Let us take a credit card analysis, case of credit card analysis. Let us assume that we are a credit card company and we have to analyze the spending pattern of our customers. How do people spend? So what type of analysis can be done? We can analyze that how many people are there who are using our credit card during festival seasons. It may happen that during festival seasons the credit card usage may be more. Sometimes you may wish to analyze the gender of the person, the gender of the user who is using credit card, how females are spending, how males are spending. This type of analysis can be used with the help of data warehousing. Sometimes you may require to analyze according to the age of user. If a user is below 30, how he is spending. If he is above 30, how he is spending. So this type of analysis is very, very useful to take decision about launching different schemes for users. Insurance fraud analysis. In case of insurance industry, there might be variety of frauds, and to analyze these frauds, we can use data warehousing. Phone call record analysis. For example, BSNL is having crores of customers and they wish to start a new scheme for their users. For example, recently BSNL has launched a new scheme that is all the calls shall be free of cost if you are calling after 9 in the night and before 7 in the morning. This is the scheme. What will be its impact on revenue of BSNL? This analysis can be used, this analysis can be done very easily using data warehouse concept. Logistic management, again, a very important area where we can use data warehousing. One more concept, that is data mining. What is data mining? We know what is data and we also know what is mining. Data mining can be simply defined as it is a process of extracting information from data and converting it into knowledge. So basically there shall be raw information which is called as data. This data is converted into information. It should be converted into a meaningful structure, and this meaningful structure of information, structured information, can be used for knowledge purpose by converting it into knowledge. So basically, data mining is taking the raw data and converting it into knowledge. Let us consider a few examples for data mining. Mobile call rates decisions. As we discussed just now, that BSNL has launched a new scheme. This scheme can be launched only after proper analysis. So mobile call rates decisions can be taken using data mining. Call duration, and this particular decision can be taken on the basis of some sort of information, that is call duration, how people talk with each other. What is the average duration of a call during a daytime, let us say 10 to 6 p.m. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. that is office hours. Let us consider what is the average call duration. You can consider the call duration from a particular city. You can consider the call duration in case of male callers, in case of female callers. Gender of the caller is also important. City of the caller, time of the call. Sometimes people may like to speak for a longer duration when they are talking out of office hours, that is in the evening or in the night or in the morning also. Age of the caller. Senior citizens may wish to talk for a longer period of time. Young people, they may wish to talk for a shorter period of time. So all this analysis can be done with the help of data mining, and it is a part of data mining, and ultimately decisions are taken on the basis of this data mining. There is one more concept, that is online analytical processing, which is used in ERP. What is it? It is an approach to quickly answer multidimensional analytical queries. It is a part of business intelligence. Let us consider a small example of OLAP, that is online analytical processing. If management is asking a question, what are the top 5 products sold from these 3 points to the customers between age of 15 to 30? Let us consider a case of Big Bazaar, a retail outlet chain. There are 5 products which are frequently sold, which are most hot product, and management is interested in knowing. There are three types of sales point, and management is interested in knowing how many products, what are the top 5 products we are selling to customers between the age of 15 and 30. Analysis of sales, that is, there are three selling points. One is point of sales, other is web stores, you can purchase from website also, and third is call center, you can give a call and buy a particular product. Point of sales is a physical location where sales is taking place. Now what happens, the probable problem is that there are three sales points and we wish to analyze a question. Please try to understand this question. What are the top 5 products sold from these 3 points to the customer between the age of 15 and 30? So there are 3 dimensions here. One dimension, that is the dimension about the sales point from where this sales transaction is taking place. Second dimension, what is the product, and third dimension is the age of customer. The basic problem, there might be a basic problem in this case, that in case of web store the age is stored as date of birth. Web store is recording the date of birth, and date of birth can be used for calculating the age of customer. In case of point of sales, that is the physical location, that is the shop, the sales the age of customer may be stored as a range. That is, range means customer below 30, customer above 30, customer above 50. It can be stored as a range. The basic issue in this case is converting the data stored as far as age is concerned into a same platform, and analysis is possible only after that. There are some popular OLAP softwares, that is online analytical processing softwares. Oracle Express Server, Hyperion Solution, Essbase, Cognos, Business Objects, MicroStrategies. These are some of the popular softwares used all over the world for this particular purpose. One more concept about ERP, that is supply chain management. It is a process of planning, implementing, controlling operations of supply chain. It includes movement and storage of raw materials, work in process, inventory, and finished goods from point of origin to the consumption. Actually, supply chain management is basically connected with inventory management. That is, it starts right from placing the order for purchase of raw material and it ends with delivery of goods to the customer. Supply chain management integrates supply and demand management within and across companies. Sometimes some outsiders, that is third parties, may be included in supply chain management. It is possible. So you might have heard about customers placing order directly with the company. Customer is an external person, they may place the order with the company directly. So in this case, the customers are also integrated in the supply chain management. There is one more concept that is called as customer relationship management. Everybody knows about this concept, that is customer relationship management. It starts with customers and it is about gaining and retaining customers. Types of CRMs. There can be 3 types of CRMs. One is called as operational CRM, second is analytical CRM, and third type can be sales intelligence CRM. Let us try to understand these concepts one by one. Operational CRM. This system will include basically the data about operations, the customer habits, what type of customer we are having, their contact details, their the product they are having at present, the product they can buy in future. This type of operational data, basically the operational data will be included in this operational CRM system. There is another type of system, that is analytical CRM. Here basically the data will be analyzed for a variety of reasons. Some meaningful information will be extracted by analyzing the data from analytical CRM system. Third system is sales intelligence CRM. What is this? Suppose you are having a car. For example, let us say Maruti WagonR, you are having the car, and this particular information is stored in operational CRM system. What is your frequency of getting your car serviced from a particular service station. This information again will be a part of analytical CRM. You are having Maruti Wagoner car, and can you buy Maruti's SX4? This type of analysis shall be done in sales intelligence CRM, because at present you are having one car, there are four members in your family, and can we sell one more product to you? Can we ask you to change or upgrade your car model? This particular part is analyzed in sales intelligence CRM. Basically, the sales intelligence CRM is aimed at increasing the sales of the company. Operational CRM is aimed at smoothing the operations of the company. That is, your car is serviced, it is ready, you can collect your car, your servicing of your car is due on this particular date, we can collect the car from you, and we can once again, after servicing is over, we can deliver the car at your doorstep. This is possible. So this type of information is a part of operational CRM. When we talk about ERP, we must talk about Web 2.0. Sometimes it is called as Web 2.0. What is it? Actually, it is a network. It is a platform spanning all connected devices. Continuous updations are going in Web 2.0. The basic feature of Web 2.0 is consumption and mixing of data from multiple sources, and sometimes even from users also. And it provides a rich user experience. The best example of Web 2.0 is Facebook and YouTube. All of us are using these two websites, that is Facebook and YouTube. It is a network, it is a platform, it is connected across all the devices. We can use Facebook from desktop application, from laptop, and we can use it from our mobile also. What is about rich user experience as far as Facebook and YouTube is concerned? User is very much happy while using Facebook and YouTube. Why? Because it is extremely easy to use. We can click on the photo and immediately the photo is displayed. We can click on the link for the video and immediately the video is run. So the user experience is very rich in case of Facebook and YouTube. So these are the two popular examples of Web 2.0. Earlier we were using websites, but the experience of user was not as rich as it is today. As far as ERP software is concerned, there are two types of applications on which the ERP can be built. One is called as desktop application and other is called as browser application. Desktop application, it is an application which is stored, which is installed on the hard disk of the computer that is used by the user. And browser application, in case of browser application, the software, the application is not stored on the hard disk of the computer of the user, but it is stored on the website itself and it is used from the website only. There are variety of browsers like Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, etc. Which type of application is more suitable and which type of application is a better application? Browser application or desktop application? Now this question is a debatable question. People may debate on this question, that sometimes some people say that desktop application is a better application. Some people may say that the browser application is a better application. There are advantages as well as disadvantages in both the cases. Desktop application, what are the advantages? Let us discuss. Let us compare the advantages and disadvantages of desktop and browser application. The first and the very big advantage of desktop application is that it shall always be faster than browser application. Second, it will always be more user friendly as far as browser application is concerned. And third thing is that the desktop application shall always be keyboard oriented. If we are using the keyboard, it will be easy to use, because using mouse may take a lot of time sometimes, and using keyboard gives us a better user experience. There are some disadvantages of desktop application as compared to browser application, that it needs to be installed and updated on each and every device separately. If we are having 10 laptops, we will have to use it, we will have to install it on 10 laptops separately. At the time of upgrading, again, we will have to upgrade the software on each and every device separately. This is a very big problem in case of desktop application, and it is not a problem at all in case of browser application, as the application shall be installed on website and it is to be updated, installed only once. Maintenance is also a very big issue in case of desktop application. If there is any file corruption, it is to be upgraded, it is to be installed, reinstalled on each and every device separately. So there are advantages as well as disadvantages in both the cases. User has to decide which option to choose. There is one more concept in software industry that is called as open source software. What is open source software? In case of open source software, the code of the software is available free of cost, and the user is generally given the right to change or modify the software as per his own requirement, and a user can redistribute the software for any other purpose. There are some open ERP software available in the market. These are some of the examples of open ERP software. People can definitely use this software without having any botheration to pay. But as there are some advantages of using our open ERP softwares, there are always some disadvantages also. Getting service, getting updation, getting enhancement in open ERP software might be a problem in some cases. So today we have discussed so many points about ERP. I hope these points are useful to you in case of your teaching. So I say thank you and end my session here.